9 News at Noon starts right now.
Thanks for joining us on 9 News at Noon. I'm Jennifer Meckles. Let's start outside on this Friday afternoon with a live look over a very gloomy Denver. Finally, we saw a little bit of rain last night. Chris Bianchi joins me now for a look at your forecast heading into the weekend. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jenny. I think we picked up about 8 raindrops here in the 9 News backyard, but we'll take each one of those 8 raindrops right now. Mid-40s for us around the metro area. It's cloudy. It's kind of gloomy out there. But you know what? At least it's feeling a bit more like, say, November rather than September, or September like November that we've had all month long. Finally snapping this as well. We had 24 consecutive days with no measurable rain. We snapped that last night with those rain showers. Now, that rain mostly across far eastern Colorado. We did pick up a lot more meaningful rain out here. Burlington checking in with over a ½ inch of rain. Lamar, about 1/3 of an inch. Springfield and Baca County, over ½ an inch of rain as well. So there was some good water out of this, but I know if you're joining me from the metro area, definitely a bit of a dud, 1/10 of an inch or less for most of the metro area. Still may get a few more raindrops today, but then as we get into the mountains, things calm for now, but we will see some snow showers develop for us here in the high country. 1 or 2 of these could trickle down into the I-25 corridor in the form of rain, graupel, or a brief, maybe even snow shower in the foothills. I'll tell you more about that and when it might actually snow for us here in Denver. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. As we wait for Denver's first snow, the mountains have already seen a few snowstorms. This week, officials with CDOT and Colorado State Patrol are reminding people about Colorado's traction laws. You have to have 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, or you got to have winter tires or all-weather tires. And if you don't have the right tires, you need chains. Traction law is in effect every year on the I-70 mountain corridor running from September through May.
I think the expectation is that drivers need to know that it's not, you can't just treat I-70 in June and heading to Vail like you treat it in January heading to Vail. The winter conditions are different. Your vehicle responds differently in the snow and the ice and the cold, and you've got to have appropriate tires and equipment in order to make that trek.
CDOT also suggests you check your tires before you go up to the mountains. Got to make sure you are prepared for a winter drive, even if it's not snowing in Denver. It could be up there. A recent burial at a century-old cemetery in Lafayette revealed a problem beneath the surface so concerning the city has now stopped coffin burials altogether. City staff uncovered what they believe to be evidence of human remains in a plot that they thought was unused. Then the state archaeologists discovered the cemetery had many overlapping grave sites and unmarked remains. While they investigate, they have stopped all coffin burials. Unclear how long that will last. We spoke with one of the people who may have to change their own burial plans.
My family's been here for 100 years in this town here. They were going to bury somebody else there, and they hid a casket. That's the reason that this whole thing's going on right now.
If families own a plot and need to use it for a burial, they can still use it for cremation, or they can transfer to another cemetery, or they can get a refund. A funeral home in Pueblo, where state inspectors found 24 decaying bodies, is now at the center of a new lawsuit. Several families are suing the owners of Davis Mortuary, Brian and Chris Cotter. Back in August, CBI says inspectors smelled a foul odor, then ultimately found bodies hidden behind a cardboard display. All of them originally brought to the funeral home more than a decade ago. So far, 6 of the 24 sets of remains have been identified. Brian Cotter has resigned as county coroner just days after that happened. The lawsuit, which now seeks a jury trial, also names the owners of the building, the Pueblo Masonic Temple Annex Association. It says the group leased the mortuary property to those brothers and would even hold meetings inside the building.
That smell had to have been overwhelming. And the Masons were not only landlords to the property, but they actually occupied the same building. They were, from what I understand, were on the 2nd and 3rd floor of this building. And for them, to me, it's reasonable to conclude that they had to have smelled these decaying bodies, and nothing was done.
We have tried to talk with the Masonic Association, had some difficulty finding contact information for them, though. Our sister station in the Springs says they were able to get a hold of them and they have declined comment. Neither of the owners of the funeral home at this point face actual charges. CBI is asking for patience as they put together a criminal case and work to identify the rest of those remains. We expect to hear soon from police in Denver this afternoon, about 2 different cases where their officers shot somebody. DPD plans to address both the November 14th shooting that happened on South Parker Road, as well as the November 2nd shooting near Biscay Court. So, the South Parker Road shooting that started as a burglary call in southeast Denver at an apartment complex. Officials say when they arrived on scene, they found a man in a storage shed holding some sort of a knife-like weapon. DPD says 2 officers fired their guns after the suspect began advancing toward them. That man later died at the hospital. The second case happened on Biscay Court in Green Valley Ranch. Police say this started during a large fight outside of a house party. Arriving officers said they heard gunshots, then said someone ran toward officers pointing a gun when they shot him. Ultimately, 3 people were injured, and the suspect was arrested shortly after. This briefing today from DPD expected to start at 2:30, and any information that we learned today will be both on air here on 9 News as well as 9news.com. Let's take a quick live look now at the nation's capital today as we are following developing news involving President Trump and Colorado Democratic Congressman Jason Crow. The president is accusing Crow and 5 other Democrats of, quote, seditious behavior, punishable by death. These accusations stem from a video they produced telling members of the military that they are allowed to refuse illegal orders. In that video, the congressmen allude to National Guard members being sent to U.S. cities like Memphis and Portland. The video does not make a specific claim of an illegal order given by a superior or even the president. On Truth Social yesterday, Trump called those lawmakers traitors.
To suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do, and they should be held accountable, and that's what the president wants to see.
Trump's post come amid growing concerns over political violence after the high-profile murder of Charlie Kirk, plus the murders of 2 Minnesota lawmakers and their families, and 2 assassination attempts against Trump himself. Crow's office told us he did not have the time to do an on-camera interview with us yesterday. He did speak to CNN, though.
I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be threatened. I took an oath to the Constitution. I've seen friends and people that I've served with give everything to uphold that oath. That is an oath that will last my entire life, and I intend to keep it.
Trump also reposted several comments from Truth Social. One of them said, "Hang them, George Washington would."